Okay, hello. This is a pretty big decode. I've left out a lot of stuff with this one, and a lot of this stuff that we're looking at is based on, previous videos. In fact, a whole bunch of previous videos. Let me start by saying I want to go through the idea that I have here about the whole story, or the sort of theme of what I think is going to play out. Okay. And so once we've done that, then we'll just jump into number jumps, and we're going to be all over the place. And if you just put this in, I don't know, 1.5 times speed, you'll probably still be able to make out what I'm saying, and you'll get through it a lot quicker. Right. Okay. What I think we've got coming up, maybe, is the removal of this thing. The removal of a system that just doesn't work anymore. And the problem is, at a certain point, when a system becomes very corrupt and is abused and is used, okay, and overused, just as this is what represents that system, the dollar bill, okay, this thing has to go. It has to be destroyed in order to start over afresh and basically regenerate new growth, because at a certain point the constant trying to keep something afloat, it just doesn't work anymore. At some point the ship has to sink. You just can't bail the water that's coming in out quick enough. Okay, anyway, this is what I think we're going to see: the crash of this thing. Now what I've been thinking here is this thing, and there's a lot of connections in Back to the Future with this idea. I don't have everything in here to show you that's in Back to the Future, but you'll know that at the end of Back to the Future 3, the DeLorean is, I might actually have it up here somewhere, the DeLorean is smashed. Okay, the silver, yeah, the thing that is made of silver, so to speak, stainless steel, but this is silver colored, yeah. This is the thing that is going to be destroyed, and when we look back at Marty's last jump, we know that this last jump actually encodes us to the Super Bowl. Okay, so if we go back a little bit here, Marty's going to come across the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, the Golden Gate Bridge. In fact, there's something in here which I need to put in later, but I probably won't. But hopefully I won't forget to put it in. But I'll just talk about it now so I don't forget. The Golden Gate Bridge. So I was talking in the last video about potentially the 49ers having a home game, because this Golden Gate Bridge refers to the ravine that's going over should be called Clayton Ravine. Okay, Clara Clayton, and Santa Clara. Oh gosh, Santa Clara is the home of the 49ers. Okay, Super Bowl is on 2/8 this year, and from the night of the thunderstorm, that is 88 days on. And there are also a whole bunch of other 88-day jumps that I've got in a previous video, and there's also the 825 jump with the CRM 14114 amplifier speaker number jump 25 days on, that also gets us to this this point here of 2/8. So this is Super Bowl references here. Okay, and so shortly after the Super Bowl, we see, or to do with the Super Bowl, we're going to see what? Maybe a train wreck happen. Okay, a train wreck with a silver theme. Okay, and the silver being crashed could potentially in turn crash this thing here. Okay, now my thoughts on this are, if they print enough silver notes, if they push right now, if you follow precious metals, if you're a stacker, you'll know that silver is actually overpriced. Okay, it does not cost. I think I've got the number up here, but it's like in the 70s right now, $70 an ounce. It does not cost $70 an ounce to produce silver, and there is enough silver out there to meet even the speculated nonsense industrial demand that people keep going on. Oh, there's so much industrial demand. There's plenty of silver out there to meet that. What there is not plenty of silver to meet is fictional pieces of paper that represent silver. Okay, so I'm talking about made up silver futures, all these banker and investment banker and all these kind of deals that have been made in order to push up silver prices, then drop them back a little bit, make some money, then push them up, then drop it back a little bit. But what I actually think is that the banks themselves and the people that run the banks behind the system know that they need some kind of reason to completely crash the dollar, right? And so wouldn't it be interesting if they use silver as excuse for crashing the dollar? And if you were an evil person, right, think about this for a minute. You already know that when a system crashes, the sensible people return to real money. They return to gold and silver. Okay, they want something that's tangible. Okay, not something that's made up fictional right here that you can just print off as and when you please, right? So if you're an evil genius, wouldn't it be a great idea to blame the crash of this thing on the crash of the precious metal market, on gold and silver itself? What that would do, now the sensible people out there will know when they hear the spiel in the news that it was because of gold and silver prices that the dollar was destroyed. The sensible people out there will know this is BS, right? But all the sheeple, all the retards that go along with everything that they hear from the news, from all the propaganda, from the propaganda machine, they will believe that the problem was gold and silver. That was the problem. Okay, and we certainly don't want a currency that's backed by gold or silver in the future. No. We don't want that. No. I don't know. It's just a thought that there could be a story here that evolves that puts a negative spin on gold and silver to try and stop people from wanting to go back to that and then shove them into a digital currency. Okay, further into the realms of fiction. Okay, so what does this mean, right? Because this thing was originally backed by gold and silver. Okay, now you may know about this. Okay, yes, the silver certificate. Now this looks very similar, very similar to this. Okay, but this one you don't get jack for if you go to the and want to trade it in for anything. Okay, so if you went and traded this in for dollars, they would just give you back dollars. Okay, or if they want to try and get real dollars, I don't know what people go. There's this little thing about people going and trading in at the Bank of England or something for pay the bearer on demand the sum of however many pounds. You go to the bank and they're thinking it was some random thing where people were thinking you could get back actual, a pound of silver or whatever. I'm getting sidetracked here. The thing is, if you turn that in the bank, they'll just look at you like you're retarded. Okay, there is no pay the bearer on demand. Okay, in fact, it doesn't even say it on this bill, but on English, British bills, it will say that. Okay. Again, now on here, payable to the bearer on demand is $1 silver. This is where that idea comes from. Is that once upon a time, if you turn this in, you would get back your dollar of silver. Okay, actual physical silver. So it's interesting that this is like an imposter, okay, like a copy of the real thing. Yeah, and of course they had. I mean, of course, when they introduced them, I believe they had them running alongside each other for a while, and then of course they knocked this one on the head and left us with this nonsense. Excuse me. Okay. Sorry, hopefully I didn't blow anybody's ears out there. Anyway, while we're on the subject of this and why this is so important to the date coming up, I don't know if this is going to let me write on here. It probably won't. Oh, it will. Hang on a minute. Let's move this out of the way so I can show you this. So I'll do this decode now while we're here. But what you need to do is, I guess it's going to, you need to look at leaves and berries on one side of the dollar bill. I was talking about this in the last video. So if I just put a mark, oh, it's not going to work, is it? That's a shame. That is a real shame. I have to get, hang on. Let's do this. Let me show you this. Okay, now we can do it. So I'll show you this decode, right? So if you count up leaves and berries on one side of the dollar bill here, so we have 2 leaves up here, 5 leaves down here, 4 berries. Okay, so 254 is what? Is 9/11. The 254th day of the year is 9/11. Now if I come to here, I've got 5 leaves here, 1 berry here, I've got another 5 leaves here. If I go 155 days from 9/11, it will bring me to what? Look at the bunny ears again here. 2, 1, 3. Okay, 2 leaves, 1 berry, 3 leaves. 2, 1, 3 to 213. This is the day we're going to be looking at here for the possible destruction of the dollar bill, for the possible destruction of the Hoover Dam. I don't know, but I just feel like we're in a cluster of dates right now from the 31st, again the 131 train in Back to the Future, right before the DeLorean gets crashed. So from 131 through to probably the 13th, and maybe even beyond that a little bit, the 13th of February, okay, which happens to be a Friday this year of all days. Okay, so Friday the 13th of February. And in between there, we also have Super Bowl as well, because Super Bowl is going to be super duper interesting with this reference as well. Okay, right, we're going to be all over the place. So this 155 jump, again, if you watch the last video, that'll make sense with the Super Bowl 24 reference with 155. Okay, now what I want to say about this is like a wolf. Yeah, this is like a wolf right here in what? Sheep's clothing. Okay, because this would be, you know, the true, this would be the true thing right here, and then this is the dressed up fictional thing, the copy, the thing to fool you. Okay, like Little Red Riding Hood is fooled when the wolf dresses up as grandma. Okay, this is the thing that's there to fool you. Okay, it looks like the real thing, but it's not the real thing. Okay, now notice this is the silver certificate. Okay, and this is really what I want to talk about, is this idea of the wolf, okay, and killing the wolf with a silver bullet, so to speak. Now, okay, so I'm jumping a little bit here, but the idea is the silver bullet that will destroy this thing, okay, is maybe silver. Maybe the crash of silver will be the thing that will destroy the United States of America, or the dollar as we know it. Okay, so that's where I'm going with this decode. The silver bullet destroying this thing, the wolf of Wall Street. Okay. Now, gosh, I don't really have his Red Riding Hood here. Yeah, here is the wolf dressed up like grandma, I guess, somewhere here. Look, yeah. So I've got some connections here. The first thing really what I want to talk about is, in fact, where do I have it? Lupercalia. Now, everybody's probably heard about this. If you're in the decoding world, everybody goes on about this all the time. So this is, yeah, Lupa, the Latin for, I guess it's the Latin for wolf, yeah. And it's basically the festival of the wolf, yeah. It's based off of it's probably in here somewhere, the myth of Romulus and Remus, wherever the hell it says it in here. Okay, here we go. Romulus and Remus being suckled by the she-wolf. Okay, here they are on the tit of the wolf. Okay, and yes, reading it into it what you want, but with this particular date, right, Lupercalia, which then translates into Valentine's Day, St. Valentine's Day, which is, I know some people say, well, it's not related. It's it is the day before, but it is interesting that they have this one disappears and then another ritual that encompasses male and female connectivity, sexual connectivity. It's fairly interesting, yeah. So that just happens to pop up right about the same sort of date. Likelihood is it's just a replacement for this, okay. And when you get into that, then there's a whole bunch of references with that, and again I can't really remember off the top of my head, but I believe St. Valentine actually married people sort of on the quiet. It's been a while since I've looked at this stuff, but there were, the marriage connection comes back into this whole thing, okay, which has been quite interesting with the white wedding stuff, okay. So there's all kinds of little bits of interconnectivity here, but I guess really where I want to go to start off with this wolf connection. So this is the first thing, right? So this is the 15th of February. Then we drop back with Valentine's Day to the 14th, and then we've got the 13th, okay, which is our start of Lucas numbers, okay. Where do we go now? Okay, so this is the first little connection back with that cluster of dates and back to the wolf, okay. Now, I guess we could drop into that stuff now. We could also drop into the connections with silver. What do I want to do here? We've kind of gone through all that. Okay, so let's see. Let's jump to the first guy. And really, the reason why I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes right now is there's a couple of reasons, right? Now, if you look at football teams, if you look at all the football teams, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head now if there's anybody that really references the bullet, and I can't really think that there is. But this projectile right here is about as close as you're going to get to it, I think. Somebody else might have some ideas. I'm not really I don't really have all that stuff in the back of my mind because I don't really watch a whole bunch of football. So this is interesting with the idea of the silver bullet. Now I'll show you what else is interesting with the Kansas City Chiefs. Not only this, but we're going to look at Patrick Mahomes with his birthday, the 17th of September 95 in a minute, the number 15. We're going to look at some of this stuff. And in fact, if I'd seen a lot of these numbers before they went out and started playing crud, I would have almost said, now the Chiefs are going to be in the final here again. Okay, but they were in the last 3 Super Bowls. Okay, all right. So pretty important. Okay, they just did the triple. They didn't win it all 3 times, but they were there 3 times. Okay. Now we've got the bullet reference here, right? Not only do we have the bullet reference with the Chiefs, but we also have the wolf reference with the Chiefs. Yeah, KC Wolf, the bloody mascot for the Kansas City Chiefs, is a wolf. That is again going to be important with our connection to Lupercalia, okay, and all this stuff, right? Jeez, okay, this just gets absolutely crazy when you see some of these connections and some of these number jumps, right? So, I guess what we want to do, okay, there he is again, the wolf, okay, we want to, computer's having trouble, right? Got too much stuff, and this is a bit annoying because it's almost like it's bloody. I wanted to show you this. So we're going back to Lupercalia now, right? And this is Charlie Kirk. Now remember Kansas City Chiefs, we did all the stuff. I wish I had the number jump in here, but Patrick Mahomes has this really great number jump that encodes Charlie Kirk's death. In here, you know, from, I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but it's in one of my back videos. Okay, now right here this is Charlie Kirk speaking at one of his things in the tabernacle here. Okay, and he is going to get flashed the nipple. Okay, now is this a reference to the she-wolf? Yeah, to Lupercalia again, to 213 and all this, and to 28 coming up with the Super Bowl. Is this a reference to that whole thing with the nipple? Now what that reminds me of is this. Oh, blimmin' hell, computer, come on baby, hang in there for this one. This Super Bowl, right? February the 1st, 2004, the halftime show for Super Bowl what? 38? The halftime show, right, let's think, was, we had Beyonce as the national anthem as well, was Janet Jackson. And you remember Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake, and they did the, what happened? And unfortunately I was out of the room when it happened. I can remember my mother-in-law, and I think grandmother-in-law shout, or maybe my father-in-law, what in the hell? She just having a boob out. Oh dear. Anyway, I missed it. I was out of the room. But yes, this is the one with the wardrobe malfunction. If you can believe that BS, you'll believe anything. So that ritual in this Super Bowl, let's do a number jump from the date of that Super Bowl. Let's hope this doesn't lose this. Oh no, we're going through this now. Oh dear. This is my worst nightmare right now, is we're going to, what was it, 2/1/2004. Let's just put it in, because this is it's not too far back to go. Okay, So let's run that through to Luminal. Let's run that through. Okay, 8043. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to lose a lot more of my number jumps here now. It does this thing where, like, I click on tabs have been up for a little while, and then I click on it. It wants to refresh the tab, and when you refresh the tab on Gematronators number jumper, it just loses whatever was already there sitting on it. So anyway, we may jump down this end and sort of work our way back and see if that helps the system out a little bit. But 8043, let me show you why this number, actually let's just check that wasn't anything super duper mental in here. Yeah, that's kind of half interesting. 22 years, 7 days, kind of half interesting as well with pi. But this number 843, if we just take that numerology there and we look in the chart of Lorraine and we look at the number 843, now just look at the cross reference here, okay? Look at this. 214. This is our modern date for Lupercalia, yeah, St. Valentine's Day. That is pretty mental, just in its own right, yeah. That is absolutely pretty mental, really, when you think about it. When you think about that she's doing the she-wolf, suckle the she-wolf, everybody, you know. Yeah, this is just, it's just crazy. And I'll remind people that this number right here has a counterpart number when we jump back to this point, which is 212 now, to the 12th position. All you have to do is minus 1 off of here, minus 1 off of there. Okay, so 842 is the total up if you add all these numbers up to this point. Okay, so 842 is the total to that point. Quite fascinating, isn't it? Because we were talking about this number to do with the 49ers and their founding date of the 24th of August. Okay, so you know, it's just the way these things are sort of all interconnected. Okay, we've got to crack on here because we're going to be here all night. What else we got here? Oh dear, we're on to the Postman Pat stuff now. I really don't. I'm going to lose all this. I know. I might have to even just junk this video and start again. First thing I want you to know is that Postman Pat, September the 16th. This is one day before Patrick Mahomes' birthday. This is 1981 though, way before Patrick Mahomes was born. And I really need to do this one, so we're going to go up to Patrick Mahomes' birthday. Let's see if it will bring it up without resetting it. Come on now, don't reset it. Yeah, reset it. Okay, what was I saying? Right before Patrick Mahomes' birthday. So, 1681. Sorry about this, but it's worth it just to see this. Okay, 9, 17, 95. Okay, oh, now, and let's click that in. Now that number jump there from Postman Pat. Can you get the connection here? The postman. What he is doing? He is sending that ball. You could almost say like a bullet. In fact, they use that reference when they talk about every once in a while. I was saying to my daughter, do they ever say like, do they throw it down? You know, make a comment like throwing it down the field like a bullet. You know. I wonder whether we may see that used in a few games running up to Super Bowl, a bullet reference with the throwing of the football down the field. She did say though that they do sometimes say like they refer to rifling it. Okay, so that is again a bullet reference. But that ball flies down the field like a bullet. He's delivering a bullet. Patrick Mahomes is delivering a bullet down the field, okay? Just like the postman makes a delivery as well, okay? Just like the doctor makes a delivery as well, the birth, okay? So this idea of delivering something, anyway, this is really interesting because Patrick Mahomes' number, the shirt he wears, is the number 15. Okay, the number 15. So already with the Postman Pat reference to Patrick Mahomes, Pat to Pat, 5115. In fact, I think I might have, let's see if we've got, and I'm probably going to have to talk through some of these to be quite honest without even doing the number jumps anymore, because we're going to be here all night if I have to start typing in number jumps. What was this one? Here's a 51. Let's see what this is. See if it gets rid of it. If it gets rid of this now, we're screwed. No, it didn't. Okay, so let's just move off of that reference with Patrick Mahomes there, with the 5115 palindromic number there, and let's look at another set of dates here. Now we're jumping back to the Future now. This date here is the release of Back to the Future. This is a film that I believe they filmed before Back to the Future, but waited till after Back to the Future came out to release it. And this film is Teen Wolf. Okay, Teen Wolf, yeah, with Michael J. Fox. Okay, the fox is just like a mini wolf. Michael J. Fox playing a basketball player, okay, that turns into a werewolf. Right, it's been years since I've seen this film. It's a pretty cool film, really. But the team, look at the team. Doesn't this remind you of the Lakers? Yeah. And funnily enough, the team, I think, is the Beavers. Yeah, the Beavers make the dam and form the lake, the Lakers. 42. Kobe wore number 24. Okay, Kobe Bryant with the number 24. And also with the B there, think about the capital B being an 8 shape. And obviously the letter B is number 2. So it's a 2-8, could be a 2-8 reference right there, just with the big B. And then what we're looking at is the potential of the Hoover Dam falling. Yeah, the Beaver Dam breaking. And the beaver again is female genitalia reference. We're talking about that doorway into the metaphysical. We're talking about restoring balance. Opening the doorway and not being either set on one side of the doorway or on the other side of the doorway. In fact, we want to be right at the doorway. We want to be able to balance both sides of reality. Okay, what were we just doing? So anyway, check this out though. The release date of that film, 8/23/1985. 8/23 is Kobe Bryant's birthday. Okay, albeit 1978, so we've got with 7 years off. Nice with the 7. That is absolutely mental. 5-1 again. 51. Okay. Mayday. Okay. This is just absolutely crazy. Let me just show you. Michael J. Fox is his buddy in the film is played by Jerry Levine. Check out his birthday. 3/12. Read that backwards. 2/13. That gives us our 2/13 reference. Also, you could write that date around the other way. 1/2/3 is again 2/13. We got right there with him, and we can also see it right here with this. Yeah, remember Ozzy Osbourne as well. Blah blah blah. 10 is a reference to completion. 1/2/3. 3/2/1. This is the total up to the 10 point in Lucas numbers. 1/2/3. 3/2/1. So the number 10, extremely important with these references as well for a reset. And again, who's wearing the number 10 shirt? Bo Nix is wearing the number 10. And Purdy is wearing 13. And remember, we're looking at Friday the 13th. Funnily enough, in his college career, Purdy did wear number 15 as well. I can't remember who he played for. I was looking at it earlier on, so my memory is like a sieve. What else we got here? So we got that 51, this is what I was trying to get to, is that from 9/11 to Christmas is 105, so the 1-5 reference again with the prodigal son. Got a couple other number jumps in here. What's this one? 6/15/86. This, what is this the blooming date of? I can't remember. I got it written down somewhere here. 6/15/86 is the release of, and I don't have the tab up anyway, is the release of Postman Pat in the USA. Now it's funny, it's interesting the date 6/15, because if you recall, we were looking at Back to the Future earlier on in the year, and 6/15 is actually the release of the Washington Post March. Now the Washington Post March is that song that you hear playing on the white van, you know, re-elect Mayor Goldie Wilson, right? Goldie Wilson. It's kind of interesting with the gold reference again, and this reference to the 49ers with gold. Yeah, so it's really important that we have the gold reference if we're going to crash gold and we're going to crash silver, and we're going to have a silver bullet that destroys the system, yeah, destroys the werewolf. So it's interesting, it would be very interesting to have the 49ers in the final, yeah, as a potential re-reference. Something, we may have something happen on Super Bowl Sunday. Maybe they'll set the ball rolling on that day. You know, because the market's open in the evening on Sunday, so maybe they'll set the ball rolling then. Maybe they'll wait till the following day, the White Wedding Day, 2/9, who knows, or maybe they'll just crash it all on Friday the 13th. Who knows? But you can see this number jump, 111 months, 2 days to Patrick Mahomes' birthday. Let's check out this one now. Patrick Mahomes through to Super Bowl is 11102 days. So you can see this Postman Pat, Patrick Mahomes, Pat. And funny enough, I just did this, I'm doing this video tonight. We went to watch my daughter's basketball game, and who are we playing? I didn't even know this team existed. I don't think we played, maybe we played them before. But anyway, it was another local team, another local Catholic school actually, and they were called St. Pat's. Okay, St. Patrick's. So it was just absolutely, it's just that, you know, the little synchronicities like that, the organic stuff is just mental right now. Anyway, look at that 112 and then the 112 again here. So actually these number jumps seem to be showing up for some reason, so we'll just keep going down this row and maybe we'll come back to this pile of junk right in the middle of here. This is the actual release of that song, the Washington Post March. I probably could show you where that is. I'll go to it in just a second and I'll show you where it is in Back to the Future, because it's actually interesting with the reference back to St. Valentine's Day, and I keep calling it St. Valentine's Day and Lupercalia there. So look at this number, right? Look at this. So this is from the release of the Washington Post March through to, so we have the Post reference again, through to 2/13/26, okay, 4/9, so we have the 49er reference and 9/17 and Patrick Mahomes together there. Kind of splitting that number up. Yes, I'm cheating a bit, but let's click it and look at it, right? Look at the composite right here. Look at the 49,917th composite. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. What are the chances of getting that? I don't know. That's pretty wild right there, okay? That's pretty mental, okay? Anyway, let me just show you that in Back to the Future. Hang on, because I've got that up here, I'm sure of it, right here, right? So, oh dear, it seems to be this end of the tabs are just really struggling. Stop. Actually, I'll show you where it actually plays it. And we did all this sort of decode, so here's the Goldie reference here, okay? Just listen to the band.
Progress is his middle name.
Got the 2H, 28, and then another 8-2 in here as well. 6-7 in there as well. This is pretty darned interesting, but that is the song, okay?
Too loud. I can't believe it.
That one, okay? And you see the van go by, and what do we have in the background here? This is again where Marty does his jump back when the lightning bolt comes across the street here, and there's the barber pole stuff should be right here somewhere, and Elite Barbers is there. But this is the adult Cupids. I wonder if I need to go forward or backwards a little bit here so you can see it a bit better. Cupids, and look at the bonds next door to that as well. Yeah, this is what the dollar bill is based on, bonds. But anyway, that says Cupids up there. This is a reference, again, we got a Valentine's Day reference there with Cupid. Okay. Okay. Where the hell are we even at here now? This is just all out of my arm, just apologise. But, you know, let's reference back now. Let's reference back to something even more wild, right? If you know Coors Light, okay? Coors Light, right? Now, this is out of a place, it's right on the edge of Denver. Yeah, Denver, Colorado, where the Broncos are from. Okay, this company is right on the edge of Denver, a little kind of a suburb called Golden. Okay, so Coors Light, well, the Coors Brewing Company is based out of Golden, Colorado. Okay, Golden, and this is one of their big marketing campaigns, which is the Silver Bullet can with Coors Light. The Silver Bullet can. Okay, and they also have the Silver Bullet train campaign as well. Interestingly enough, it just happens to say October the 22nd, 2011 up here. October the 22nd, Doc's birthday. The Montparnasse train crash, Paris, referencing back to the 131 train in Back to the Future. You just can't, I mean, just stupid shit like this, excuse my French, but you don't even have to try for some of this stuff, you know, you don't even have to really look for it, it's just there. But this is the Silver Bullet can, okay? So again, with the Broncos, this becomes really interesting with the reference now to the home of the Broncos, really having this huge connection to the Silver Bullet. So this, to me, just makes me think like it's got to be the Broncos 49ers. It just has to be. I don't know. I've seen stuff before though, and I've been like mad on it, like, yeah, that's definitely right, and it never really pans out, so who knows. But there it is, the Silver Bullet. This is the thing that's going to destroy the dollar bill, the Silver Bullet, the werewolf. Look at this. I actually have a number jump in here for this. This is when they reintroduced, I think they used this marketing earlier on in their marketing campaigns, but they happened to bring it back for this train. They happened to bring it back for the Super Bowl 2/11/24. Okay, I think that's Super Bowl 58. Super Bowl 58 is when, and we might get onto it in a tab here, but this was the Chiefs 49ers game, and Brock Purdy was against Patrick Mahomes, and we did that Brock Purdy reference with Patrick Mahomes in the last video. Can't remember everything was in there. Okay, so this is just super interesting. Excuse me. I'm gonna have to hurry along here because I want to try and get this finished, but this is absolutely crazy, and I think this is just, again, I think 2005 was the debut, but I could probably find out the exact date. But anyway, we're not going to worry about that now. We just don't have enough time to mess with it. One other thing to remember is that Coors actually own Miller, and Miller is referenced in Back to the Future quite a bit. Yeah, and there's, I mean, I can't even be bothered to go back. I didn't get any bit clips up for the Miller references, but there's a ton of Miller references in Back to the Future. So it is interesting that these two companies have amalgamated. And look, when operations began, July 1st, 2008, 2008, 28 and 71. So again, like, some of this stuff you just really don't have to even bother, trying to think about, really. Okay, some of it's just right there. I haven't even done any number jumps for any of that or anything. Okay, that's a blank. So the bullet train. This now makes me think of the bullet train. We will go to the film in a minute. Hopefully the number jumps are still there, but there is an exceptional connection to the Super Bowl coming up with this bullet train film as well. And this reference here, let me show you something in Back to the Future 2 again. What have we got? I think it's down here actually. Nope. Oh, we'll go to that Teen Wolf one in a minute. We're just jumping about all over the place here. This is the blast from the past, okay? So the blast from the past is obviously, could be referencing quite a few things. We might be thinking it references the... Oh dear. It could be referencing, atomic warfare, yeah? The blast from the past. But anyway, could be referencing quite a lot of things, actually. Could even be referencing 9/11. It could be referencing a whole bunch of things. But, yeah, check out that as well. I didn't even think about this, but that egg chair there, Mork and Mindy, and I think I want to say Mork and Mindy were based out of. Were they in Colorado? Was that actually in Colorado? Was it in Denver? I don't know. The series, Mork and Mindy. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Somebody could look that up or tell me if they know. But I've got a funny feeling like it was. Anyway, just another bloody thing. Every time I look at something, it's like, oh no, there's another thing here. The post, the mailbox right here. The mailbox right in front of this thing. Okay. Now, we want to go across carry on and let him look through the window here. Now, that car that was parked in the road there is making a reflection on the window right here. If you can see it, it reminds me of a bullet train. A bullet train. I don't know if that is intentional. I think it is. But this is just absolutely crazy. Absolutely bloody crazy. It is interesting as well with antique coins and bills written across here as well with the bullet train. Oh yeah, like I say, just tons of nutty references. And also, don't forget, I Pet Goat has the Black Madonna. We did that with the Patrick Mahomes decode with that, and also with Eli Manning with that. Yeah, brother 2, Peyton Manning, another big Broncos guy, and in that scene, the Black Madonna is holding a vessel that looks similar to this. Kind of gives you the hint of this blue and white pot here. Okay, anyway, getting sidetracked. But this is the bullet train here in Back to the Future in the window of the blast from the past. Oh dear. Okay, so I mean, it's just, yeah, Dan, you're all over the place, right? So I wanted to just show you that before we get on to this bullet train stuff. Okay, so the bullet train. Now, just so happens that there is the new bullet train film references this old bullet train film, and this old bullet train film is pretty interesting because there is a bomb on the train that is going to explode if the train drops below, I think it said 50 miles an hour down here somewhere, And if you read through this stuff, it's just loaded. It's just absolutely loaded. And the 5/7/75 release date on this film, and also the 152, the 15th of Feb, yeah, which is our original date for Lupercalia, 152. And don't forget, that is actually, that number is also on the dollar bill. Maybe I could show you. I could show you why that's on the dollar bill. If you've not seen my old decodes on the 152 on the dollar bill, that is also pretty important with the reference to the Broncos and Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. So that is, again, super important as well. That particular one, the 152, the date 152. Don't forget 152 is at the top of the dartboard as well. 251, 521, sorry, in that order. And 521, just to overcomplicate things even more, 521, which is right here, is a 213 reference, is 521. Dear oh dear, Dan, it's just terrible. The circles are terrible. Let's go to this and see if it'll hold up and not lose our number jump here. Otherwise, it's going to lose it. Come on. That's not even. Oh dear. Oh no. Wow, that's a miracle. It's, look at that. It's kept it up there. Anyway, look at this palindromic number here. 81481. Now, I believe I have. Let me show you something down here. So this is the the original Bullet Train film. Well, maybe I don't have it. I thought I had a. Yeah, no. Oh, Daniel. Anyway, I don't know what I do with it. Okay, well, we might come across this 184 number jump later on. Let me show you something else though. Let's go to the new version of Bullet Train with Brad Pitt. In fact, I forgot to put his number jump in. Probably super duper interesting. But I've got a couple of number jumps for the film. Look at the 126. Again, Kobe Bryant's death date, 26th of Jan, 126. So that's important again. Okay. Come on now. This is one of the release dates, right, of the film. 1301, 131 train in Back to the Future, 131, 212 prime. Absolutely mental, yeah, because that's obviously the, right in that cluster of dates as well. So that's mental. Go to the next number jump. That was the sort of premiere, I think, and this is the actual release. 1283 through to Super Bowl. Let's have a look. 208. 208. Now that is crazy. Why? Because if we go to, let's just go back to this one. Let me just show you something that is absolutely crazy about this actually. We've got the 218 days, which is Pluto reference again, which is super important with Lucas numbers. Let's just click this. Let me show you something. Look at this lot. 2117 prime, 56 star. Okay, that's interesting. But the composite number is what's really interesting to me, because look at the composite number. It's 20826. This has the date in the composite number here. It has the date that it's running out to. Yeah, the date that it's running out to, 20826. 20826. Now that's got to be pretty hard to get, that kind of a reference there. So that is, I think, pretty mental to say the least. Okay, it's kind of a re-reference of itself there. Okay, Bullet Train, Bullet Train, Bullet Train. Sandra Bullock's in Bullet Train. In Sandra Bullock is in Bullet Train. Bullet Train, and don't forget the 2525. They ripped Bullet Train off the original version of it. Obviously, you could probably tell when I was explaining that it can't drop under 50 mile an hour. Well, what was Sandra Bullock in? Speed with old Keanu. Okay, and again, you know, the reference there to not dropping under, I think it was 50 mile an hour, wasn't it, in speed as well? Was it 55 or 50? 50, I think. Okay, and it had the 25-25 on top of the bus. And I think if you run out that one of those, maybe the release of that, I think it comes to 25, not quite 25-25, but there's something interesting. I looked at it not that long ago. It was like a week ago or so. So there was something fairly interesting with that. But anyway, Bullet Train, come on. Let's crack on with one of the main. So we're on Bullet Train and we're looking at characters in Bullet Train. Okay, we're looking at characters. This dude is in the film Bullet Train. Bad Bunny as the wolf. Okay, Bad Bunny. Well, I'm laughing, but you might not know this. You probably already know this though. Super Bowl 60 halftime show is going to be with Bad Bunny. Okay, so this dude that is the wolf in the Bullet Train is going to be doing the halftime show. That's if Madonna don't die and they have to do a whole bunch of crud to commemorate Madonna. Okay. They're all fighting over this thing, the Lombardi Trophy, yeah? Again, it's referenced in I Pet Goat. But the Lombardi Trophy it's like a silver bullet, yeah? They get, the reference to throwing that thing down the field, rifling it like a bullet. This is the silver bullet. It just makes me wonder whether they're going to start the ball rolling on, the whole thing's going to kick off Super Bowl night. The crack will start developing. Just like in the Batman. The field starts splitting open, but what we're talking about, the playing field, is the markets. Okay, look at this as well. Look at this for a 666 reference now. So let's look. This has got the most wins right here, right? So coming down, San Francisco 49ers have 5 wins right now. So if they were to go to Super Bowl and win that game, that would bring them up to 6 wins of the bullet, right? Again, we had the 60 reference. We've got the 60 reference with the actual Super Bowl itself, which is a 6 reference. Brock Purdy and Bo Nix are born 60 days apart for another 6 reference. And then if the 49ers won it, that would be another third. That would be your 666 right there. That would be pretty interesting. We've had a bunch of 666 stuffs. Not to mention, again, go back to Michael J. Fox. The Fox is 666, yeah? The Fox is 666. It's the only word in the English language that reduces just straight to 666. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now I'm jumping back to The Postman. Okay, the film The Postman with Kevin Costner, who does the bloody zip line off the dam. Okay, and I actually want to mention a couple of things about this number again, because I keep forgetting to mention stuff. It's just terrible. But his birthday, the 118, yeah, 1955, super duper interesting, through to 26. I'll show you why this is interesting with the 26 again, but there was a bunch of 26 references in The Postman, because of course the founding date of the Post office was the 26th of July as well, so this 26th keeps popping up. But he was palindromic with the 25952, and I was saying, sort of mentioned about it a little bit, but there's some interesting birthdays on the 25th of September, okay? And I keep going on about Michael Douglas, and I was like, I better just check to make sure I'm right with this, So I went to check Michael Douglas, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's married to Catherine Zeta-Jones, and I was like, oh yeah, there is something funny about that, because they both have a 25th of September birthday. They're both born on the 25th of September. So both Catherine Zeta-Jones, and when we're looking at this wedding thing again as well, this is super duper interesting with those two. So it wouldn't surprise me if on the run up to this we may have maybe there would be a story with Michael Douglas or Catherine Zeta-Jones. That would be fairly interesting on the run up to this. And the other important birthday here is Christopher Reeves. Okay, Christopher Reeve is born on the 25th of September, and don't forget, this is interesting as well with the horse reference with the Broncos. He was paralyzed supposedly with a fall from a horse. Okay, again, a very interesting reference with the horse and the Broncos again, and obviously the idea of the bucking bronco. And again, we have to remember he's got pretty much one of the most important films for the reference to the. I've got a cough again. Sorry. One of the Superman film. Okay, Superman the movie, 1978. That film, super duper important with the reference to the Hoover Dam falling, that collapse, and also the Golden Gate Bridge as well. That's referenced in that film as well. So we have this connection with gold and the Hoover Dam falling at the same time, which is, again, I believe the crash of precious metals to crash the dollar. You know, make a huge bubble and then floor it. You know, and look at this as well: 71 years, 19 days with the 917 numerology. Okay, just while we're on the subject of the 26 there, Train 6226, Madonna 6226. Okay, so and the 37s in there and everything else, but just wanted to make that clear as well. Channel Tunnel, I'm going to re-reference this one more time because look at the numbers for the coordinates with the 1-5 numerology with the coordinates. Okay. What else do we have here? Oh, Harvey Keitel. He's been in a ton of really interesting films actually, but again with the reference to the wolf and back to Madonna. He plays the wolf in Pulp Fiction, the cleanup man. Yeah, he's the cleanup. So he has to come and clean up Jules and Vince's mess, right? When Vince blows off Marvin's head, which is actually, that scene is actually set up to imitate a scene in Who's That Girl, just as the train wreck in Back to the Future is set up to imitate a scene in Who's That Girl. And don't forget who is the girl, the Hoover is the girl, okay? The Hoover Dam. Anyway, I don't know really why. I was going to do a number jump with him, I think. Do I have that in here? I don't know if it was interesting or not. Oh yeah, well I went to the original Lupercalia date, and I think it was something fairly interesting. Let's click on, come on. Oh, that was it, yes, it was 28282. What are the chances of getting that composite number? I don't know. So I like it when they're all nice and balanced palindromic numbers. A little bit more difficult to get to. Anyway, still on the subject of the wolf. Again, Einstein. The first time traveler referenced. Yeah. Oh dear. Okay. So this reference to when this baby hits 88, Lupercalia. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay. Here he is. Here is Bad Bunny. He looks a bit like Ali G there, doesn't he? There was something. Oh, I think there was something interesting with his number jump through to the Wolf Day as well. I probably should. There's so many references that I could think of now that you know what? Probably should go and look up Airwolf. Interesting with Airwolf and the Kobe Bryant crash with a supposed black helicopter that randomly turned back to blue and white on the ground, and the connection with the black helicopter in Airwolf. just makes you wonder, doesn't it? Look at this, the 343. Again, this ties in with the tanking, with the Madonna train wreck in GoldenEye. Yeah, again with the golden. Look at this, 11666. Now I should tell you something else interesting as well. So not only do we have the Channel Tunnel coming out with a 116. Do I have that in here? I don't think I have that number jump in here. But we had I think it came out on the 7th with 11600 days since the Channel Tunnel was opened. Okay, so we have that same sort of numerology popping up. Again, when we went back to Super Bowl 24, which would be a repeat of the Broncos 49ers, MVP was and actually this is another interesting thing, Joe Montana, and I think he was called Joe Cool, wasn't he? So that is kind of marginally interesting with the Chill Train, like the Cool reference, with that silver bullet train, yeah, and this idea of, well, there's a little bit of a similar sounding word there with cause and cool as well. That's that's marginally interesting as well. But anyway, the other interesting thing with that is if we go to the, where the hell is that? Let's go to the Lombardi Trophy, because I can't remember, where did I have it? I feel like it was down here somewhere actually. Okay. Well, anyway, the Lombardi Trophy, was named for Vince Lombardi. Okay. If we go to Vince Lombardi, we should see he's a 6'11" as well. Yeah, right here, 6'11", and he's also a 9'3", which is pretty interesting as well. 9'3" with the birthday of the Hoover Dam, Highway 93 right there as well. Yada yada yada. What else do I want to mention here? I'm kind of running out of steam myself here. No pun intended. There's no point in really showing you this. This is the 57 reference. That's Bad Bunny's birthday through to or 58 even, which is marginally interesting as well, with the release date of Bullet Train on 8/5, and the Channel Tunnel opening. Okay, remember that's our French connection, and that we've had a lot of 147 references, which is references back to the death of Benjamin Franklin, but it's also French. It's Bastille Day, French Independence Day. Okay, and also don't forget that French Liberation Day is 8/25. Again with the 8/25 with the Broncos, and the 8/25 with the clocks in the morning. So and obviously Franklin and the Franks in France. Okay, so, and he was the ambassador of France or whatever he was. I don't know. Okay, what else we got here? Teen Wolf, come on. I think we've done the Kobe Bryant references with Teen Wolf. What was this? This is the August the 14th, 59. I just wanted to show you Magic Johnson again. Just to confirm, I had to double check this. Just to confirm that his birthday is also on the same day as the Broncos were founded, and we had in Desperately Seeking Susan, we had a huge connection with Magic Johnson, I thought, anyway. And also Pulp Fiction also connected back in with Magic Johnson with Marcellus Wallace. Okay. Now, yeah, played for the Lakers. Okay. So there's our, similar stuff going on there with that. What else? Oh yeah, Kobe Bryant, like, he's wearing the shirt 24. I think I said this already though, and in Teen Wolf, Michael J. Fox has the 42 on, okay? And this whole thing with had a lot of 24 references. Don't forget, we had the big 24 references in The Lost Boys, okay? The Lost Boys, the film, and they even have a reference to the wolf in that. Let's have a look at Lost Boys. This scene here is tying us back in. Let me show you this actually. Let's go back to the start of this scene. What's his name? I can't remember his character's name actually in the film now. He's in the bathtub. This is Corey Haim, or Haim, I don't know, Haim, or whatever his character is in the film. He's in the bath, yeah? The bath is a reference to the dam, okay? At the Hoover Dam, they refer to that ring at the top of the Lake Mead as the bathtub ring, okay? Look at the buck reference here. That's interesting as get. Well, with the dollar bill, the buck, and the dough. The dough is the money, the buck is the money, okay? Just wordplay. But here is Michael coming up the stairs, and here is, I think it's Nanook, the name of the dog, and we're going to have, so there's a wolf reference here with the husky, and the bathtub reference with the Hoover Dam, the buck reference again with the dollar bill, and Michael is going to get his hand bitten. Kind of similar idea to all of the damage that happens to Michael J. Fox's hand in Back to the Future. Oh dear. Right, come on, we're almost there, I think. Teen Wolf, blah blah blah. There was actually some other stuff with Teen Wolf. The Lakers, you can just have a look at these colors. In fact, if you know, it's, I mean, I know it's purple, but it isn't far off. It really isn't that far off. The colors of the train as well. I know we talked about Ukraine with these colors, but it isn't far off the colors for the train as well. That's going to destroy the silver there. So this, this whole reference here is, just classic, classic. Classic. Here's the werewolf. I don't know why I've got this up here. Maybe I was going to go through some of that stuff. Oh, well, we really ought to talk about when the werewolf becomes a werewolf, and that is in the light of the full moon. Now, this year we've had full moons. Our first moon of the year was the wolf moon on 1/3, the 3rd of January. That's absolutely mental, I think. And our next full moon is going to be a snow moon, which is kind of interesting with the Frozen reference again, and Madonna. And February the 1st, so that's the day after 131. So again, I mean, it's just super interesting. I don't know what else to say about it. But has the werewolf been birthed now on the 3rd of January, the 1/3? Okay, whatever. And I just had this up here. Don't forget, it's the year of the horse. In fact, in that actual scene there, I mean, of course, I'm glossing through a lot of this stuff. I'm sorry, but where was that? Dear, come on. In this scene here, I mean, there's a little reference to it right on the wall here. I mean, there's just. Hang on. Let's see if it's after that. Also, I can't get on the right scene, the right part here. But as he comes down the stairs here. Oh, right here. Just back and stop. Oh yeah, right. Stop in the right place. Look at that. Got these horses in this picture right here. This is pretty interesting. Got a sort of, it's like a cloven hoof reference there as well. Anyway, you know, horse references there, and don't forget the very start of this film starts off at we have that sort of big carousel reference at the start of the film. Yeah, so again, just crazy stuff. I think I've shown you pretty much everything. It would be interesting to try and guess where the prices would go to before it crashes. 114 would be an idea because of the CRM 114. 131 would also be another idea, and 118 would be a nice reference number for it to go up to and crash. I don't know, there's like loads and loads of numbers. We could even go really outlandish and say it could go up to even $155 an ounce before it crashed. I don't know, you could pick out any number of crazy, you know, numbers. 122 would be an interesting number. That ties in with 123. And that would actually be the total to this point right here is 122. We add all those up, so 122 would be a super interesting number for that silver price to go up to before it crashed. 128, any, you know, there's so many options for for potential like numbers that it could be. Oh dear, yeah. Yeah, 122 would be a good one because it references 47. It also references this point, number 10 here, 1, 2, 3 as well, the end of the cycle. So that would be a good one. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna call it a night. I've probably missed a ton of stuff out of there. I wish I could have condensed this down a bit more, but you know, the takeaway is the idea of destroying, you know, the wolf right here, and coming back over to silver, or using silver to destroy that thing. Okay, and there will be there's a positive and a negative to everything. So there'll be a spin, for the people that are in the know, the spin will be we need to go back to silver and gold, and the people that aren't in the know will be like, no, we need to go digital. We can't risk being attached to something that could crash like that again. Well, if it was a true free market and wasn't made up bullshit on pieces of paper, we wouldn't have any problems. In fact, most of the problems in the world, yes, are caused by greedy bankers and greedy traders. Yeah, I don't even want to go on a rant about it really. So all these other numbers up the front here, let's see if we can click back on these without losing them. Yes, we did. Okay, so just rounding up. The only problem is I can't remember what 5/23/2014 was. I'd probably have to look that up to remember what that was. Any ideas? But look at the number jump that's coming out there for that, whatever it was. Hang on a minute. I got a piece of paper here with some stuff written down on. Oh, this is the release of Postman Pat the movie. Postman Pat the movie through to Super Bowl 4280. So read that backwards. 824. That's the founding date of the 49ers. Okay. So what other numbers we got up here? I know there's another number jump that I was going to put in here and I didn't bother. This was the birth of the actual post office through to Patrick Mahomes, 8844. That's fairly interesting. I just thought it was interesting. And then one that I didn't put in here, but we could just do it really quickly. This is, have you heard of the guy called Post Malone? Okay, Post Malone. Let's put his birthday in, 85. Through to Patrick Mahomes' birthday is 75 days, and again, this might be why that's 75 is pretty interesting. 75. not only is his birthday 74, right? Post Malone's birthday is 74. Postman, we got the Post, and then the Post and the Pat together, and Post Malone and Pat Mahomes, kind of similar, like sounding name. I don't know, kind of similar, you know. I don't know. They kind of fit together nicely. Anyway, look at this month, 2 months, 13 days, 213 referenced out with that. This is just random, kind of random stuff. I did have some other Super Bowl stuff in here as well. I had a number jump out to that, the Coors Light, when the Coors Light, that Super Bowl, maybe it's Super Bowl 57, not 58, I don't know, anyway. Whatever. I'm calling it a night, okay? The werewolf. Destroy the werewolf with the silver bullet, the bullet train. So we're going to have a train reference, maybe something to do with a French train coming under the Channel Tunnel, maybe something to do with Madonna dying, maybe something to do with the silver and gold prices crashing, the dollar bill imploding. Okay, end of video. Alright, good night, God bless. I'll probably missed a ton of stuff off there as well, but whatever. Okay, right, that's it. Right, bye.